Master teaching: fear, faith, stewardship, and the judgment of fruit. Opening foundation: work is good, fear is not. Let me say this clearly before anyone misunderstands me. Work is good, labor is honorable, providing for your family is biblical. Scripture says if a man does not work, he should not eat. So this is not anti-job, this is not anti-effort, this is not anti-discipline, but there is something Scripture repeatedly warns us about, and it's not failure, it's fear. And fear doesn't usually show up loud, it shows up quiet, reasonable, and safe sounding. Fear says, at least I didn't lose anything, and God does not approve of that mindset. The word talent does not mean what we think it means. When Jesus tells the parable of the talents, most modern readers miss the weight of the story because we've redefined the word talent. A talent was not a skill. It was not an ability. It was not a personality trait. A talent was a unit of money, a massive one. Historically, one talent approximately 75 pounds of silver. One talent approximately 20 years of wages. In modern terms, conservatively, one talent approximately $1 million. So when Jesus tells this story, he is not talking about pocket change. He is talking about fortunes. The parable of the talents, Matthew 25. Read properly. For it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. Translation: one man was entrusted with $5 million. One with $2 million, one with $1 million. Nobody was cheated. Nobody was mistreated. Each was trusted with a fortune. And then Jesus tells us what separates the servants. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. Notice the urgency. Went at once. Faith moves. Fear hesitates. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But then comes the third servant. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. This man didn't spend it. He didn't waste it. He didn't gamble it away. He buried a fortune. The confession that condemns him. When the master returns, listen carefully to what the servant says. Master, I knew you to be a hard man, so I was afraid and I went and hid your talent in the ground. This is critical. The servant is judged not for loss, but for fear-based inactivity. Fear didn't cause him to fail. Fear caused him to do nothing. And here is God's response, not gentle, not neutral. You wicked and slothful servant. Jesus uses 2 words, if wicked, slothful, lazy. This is where modern Christians get uncomfortable because we've redefined wickedness as only crime, violence, obvious immorality. But Jesus defines wickedness here as fearful refusal to steward what God entrusted. What wicked and lazy looks like today. Let's bring this into modern language. Wicked laziness today looks like knowing better but refusing to act, hiding behind "I'm waiting on God," calling fear wisdom, choosing comfort over calling, burying ideas, gifts, capital, and opportunities, playing not to lose instead of playing to steward. This servant didn't disrespect the master verbally. He disrespected him by not believing him enough to act. Fear questioned the master's character. Faith trusted it. Well done, good and faithful servant. 2 timelines. Now contrast that with what the faithful servants hear. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. This statement operates on 2 timelines. Timeline 1, earthly stewardship. God is pleased when you multiply what you're given. You take responsibility seriously. You produce fruit, not excuses. Timeline 2, eternal completion. This phrase sounds like something said at the end of life, when the race is run, when the account is settled, when stewardship is evaluated. You are absolutely right. If you hear this in eternity, it's because you practice faithfulness on earth. This is not about money, but money reveals it. Let's be clear. This parable is not only about money, it's about aim, time, ideas, influence, relationships, knowledge, opportunity, But money is included, and it's included intentionally, because money exposes fear, trust, discipline, faith, responsibility. That's why Jesus talked about it so much. Parable of the sower, the other side of the same truth. Now, Jesus teaches the same lesson, but from a different angle. A sower went out to sow. The seed is always good. The word is always true. The opportunity is always valid. The difference is the ground. Jesus describes 4 types. 1, the path hears the word, never receives it, never considers it, nothing changes. 2, rocky ground, gets excited, feels motivated, but when pressure comes, quits. 3, thorny ground, this is where fear lives. The cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word. Bills, distractions, comfort, anxiety, comparison. Truth gets crowded out. 4th, good soil hears, understands, protects, nurtures, produces fruit, 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold. Notice again, God expects increase. How these 2 parables lock together. The servant with 1 talent is thorny soil. He heard the truth. He understood the responsibility, but fear, caution, and self-preservation choked obedience. He didn't lose the seed. He didn't lose the money. He lost the approval. Fear vs. faith. The real battle. Fear always sounds reasonable. Fear says, at least I didn't mess it up. Now's not the time. What if I fail? What will people think? Faith says, God entrusted me for a reason. I must steward, not hide. Fruit matters. This is why Myron Golden resonates. Not because he's replacing scripture, but because he's echoing it. Myron Golden, modern language but ancient law. The pillar from Myron Golden that fits here is simple. God rewards value creation, not value preservation. That's Matthew 25, that's Matthew 13, that's Genesis, that's Proverbs. Preservation feels safe, multiplication feels risky, but God calls preservation wicked when it's driven by fear. What God does not approve of, make this clear. Straight up. Look, yo, God does not approve of fear disguised as humility, laziness disguised as patience, comfort disguised as contentment, inaction disguised as wisdom, burying fortunes disguised as faithfulness. The servant said, here, you have what is yours. And God said, that's not enough. Why this matters? This isn't motivational talk. This isn't hustle culture. This isn't prosperity fluff. This is eternal stewardship. Every person will give an account, not just for sins avoided, but for assignments ignored. The question won't only be, what did you do wrong? It will also be, what did you fail to do? So the question today isn't, do you have a job? Do you have money? Do you have talent? The question is, what have you buried? And what kind of ground are you? Because the goal isn't applause now. The goal isn't comfort now. The goal isn't safety now. The goal is to finish this life having stewarded what God trusted you with, so that when it's all said and done, you hear, well done, good and faithful servant. Not because you were perfect, but because you were faithful, not fearless, but obedient. Where we are now, summary. Talents, fortunes, fear, inactivity, wicked stewardship, faith, multiplication, good soil, fruit. God expects increase. Eternity evaluates faithfulness. Approval is not automatic. It's stewarded. My mom taught me growing up that birds of a feather flock together, so send this to your flock where the freedom at.